Mr. Bradley, you say for 19 years you've wondered, who is my father?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're hoping today's DNA test solves your intricate family mystery. Mr. Tessiner, you claim you are 100% sure you are not Mr. Bradley's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say another man is on his birth certificate and paid child support. Furthermore, you say the dates of conception do not add up.
Yes, Your Honor, that's right.
In addition to your paternity case, Mr. Bradley, you're also asking the court to award you $50 in clerical fees. You state you plan to change your last name to Tessiner if indeed today's results prove the defendant is your biological father. Now, Mr. Bradley, first, please explain to the court, how has your life been not knowing the identity of your father?
It was really tough going to my football games, not having a father there at my football games. I joined Boy Scouts. I had to go with a friend and his father, and kind of felt like a third wheel when I watched them interact with each other, and it's kind of tough, and not having a father myself to go camping with and to take to the juries at the Boy Scouts, and kind of just had to go with other friends and their fathers to do things.
And so all your life you felt this absence, this void.
Yeah, this void, and a longing to have a father of myself to spend time with.
You thought another man was your father.
Correct. I was sitting in the car, and my mom and my aunt were arguing, and my aunt looks at my mom and tells her, well, why don't you tell him who his father is? And I looked at my mom, and I'm like, what's going on? And my aunt says, well, your father's James Tessiner. So then I started pushing my mom into letting me go see him. And I met him when I was 13 and didn't get to see him again until I was 18.
Until you were 18 years old?
Correct.
Mr. Tessiner, please explain to the court why you're so sure you're not Mr. Bradley's father.
We only dated for about a month. I remember pulling over on the side of the road one time to make out. I cannot even remember having sex with her, and I never knew that she was pregnant or that a baby was born.
Never?
Never.
You were never contacted?
I was never contacted, no ma'am.
And so when did you first come to know you potentially had a son?
His aunt brought him to my house and said he was my baby, but I didn't believe her because I had heard nothing from the mom, knew nothing about her being pregnant, so I just thought she was messing with me.
So, Miss Bradley, you, of course, remember having a relationship with Mr. Tessiner.
Yes.
And he says he knew nothing about you being pregnant or anything. What happened during that time when you found out you were pregnant?
I had, thought I had told Mr. Tessiner that I was pregnant. I'm not sure on that.
So what he's saying may be true.
Right.
You may not have even told him.
Right. And when I had my son, I didn't put anybody down on the birth certificate as the dad. I wasn't, sure. I thought it was my boyfriend I was dating at the time. I hadn't seen Mr. Tessiner in a long time. So I didn't put anybody down, and the nurses said, well, you're gonna have to put somebody down as his dad. And I said, well, I think it's... Excuse
me.
My ex-boyfriend.
Excuse me. No, they ain't no nurse can tell you to put nobody on nobody's birth certificate. It should have been left blank. It should have been left blank.
Nobody's name was put on.
Can't nobody make you put no name on a birth certificate. No, they shouldn't have been nobody put on that birth certificate until there was a paternity test done.
And that makes you angry that you've lived through this type of confusion.
Yeah, because I watched that man go to jail for child support.
She's lying.
And
she
the name was printed
on the man's name on
the
there
man's
until
name was
1984.
All right, gentlemen, just one at a time. I want to understand you, but one at a time.
The
Go
name
ahead.
on the birth certificate was printed. It was not signed. He did not sign that birth certificate.
So there is another man on the birth certificate. He was paying child support.
Went to jail.
Went to jail for failure to pay the child support. And your frustration is you believe all the while.
She knew who my dad was.
Did anybody bring this birth certificate with the name printed?
Yeah.
And I've watched the gentleman in question sign papers. He knows how to sign his name.
So this is another man other than you?
Another man be signing the birth certificate by court order. If you look in the right-hand corner, it says by court order unless DNA was done then.
So, Ms. Bradley, let me ask you, why did this other man sign the birth certificate?
The court ordered someone on the birth certificate. And at that time, I told the courts that I felt like my boyfriend then was his father.
without ever having a paternity test.
I think the other man had a paternity test. I was
Did you
told
believe when you
he did.
provided that name, he was the biological father? You knew?
At that time, yes, because Mr. Bradley was dark-skinned when he was born. And then his facial features started to change. And he looked more and more like Mr. Tessiner.
So literally, as your son is growing and getting older, you're watching features change and you're watching this young man begin to look like another man.
Yes, ma'am.
All the while, the other man is paying child support and even going to jail for failure to pay it.
Yes.
I think he looks like the other man, and I heard that the other man took a DNA test before he started paying child support. Have Lillian to pull his britchy legs up. Look here. See how white I am? Look how white I am. Pull your pants leg up, Lillian. Mr. Bradley.
So you're saying his skin tone.
His skin color.
I wear shorts.
He's
all the
darker
time.
than me.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. So you're saying the other man took a paternity test,
That's
was
what I heard.
confirmed to be the father,
That's what I
and that's
heard.
why he was responsible
That's
for
what I
child
heard.
support.
Why is she going after the other man for child support in 1984? And he's a roofer, and roofers only works part of the time. I'm in the military in 1984. If I'm the dad, why didn't you go after me then? I paid child support on my other kids.
So you're saying this whole thing has been masterminded.
I think she just changes it to whoever's doing better. That's who she tells him his daddy is. That's what I believe.
And this makes you angry because potentially you missed out on.
If he is my son, I missed out on a lot, didn't I? And if he ain't, look at what he's been put through over it.
Exactly. Thank you.
All because of lies. Because every time she talks, she's lying.
All right, so Mr. Bradley, tell me about your relationship with the other man.
I talked to the other man, and I asked him myself, point blank, I said, was there a DNA test done? He said no. When I was 18, I made her go pick him up, and I told him in the car that I was not his son, that I've met James, and I told him how much we looked alike and how much we acted alike.
Did the other man ever have doubts that
Yes,
you were
he
his
did.
biological child?
His sister told him, if he's your son, she said, then I've got oceanfront property in Texas. She said, when y'all started dating, Anita was already pregnant with him.
So she told you point blank?
Point blank. She said, I told you so. Because I seen her later on at my great-grandmother's funeral, or the one I thought was my great-grandmother.
So you meet Mr. Tessiner, and you feel like you look in his face and you see your face.
Exactly.
But Mr. Tessiner, you say you do not see any
He looks that
resemblance.
much like me. He's darker than me. A lot darker. He's got straight hair. Before I went in the military, my hair was long. It was almost like an afro out here like this. His hair's straight as a stick. The other guy is half Cherokee Indian. His mom.
So you feel like this other person.
I believe DNA was done already.
So you just convinced that a DNA test was done, even though the man says it wasn't?
I ain't heard the man say it wouldn't.
Did you hear the man say?
How am I gonna believe him? Because he's just like his mama. They both lie.
Really? How do
They
you
do.
know this?
I've been around him a good bit. I helped him get a house.
Why did you help him get a house if you didn't believe he was your son?
Well, I mean, he's coming around calling me daddy. He needed a house. He had kids. And I was working for a lady that flips houses. So I talked her into letting him have a house until he gets his income tax without putting a down payment down. What'd he do? He let it go. Quit his job, lost his house. Ain't never worked much. Like I said, we only slept together once. If we slept in, I remember pulling over on the side of the road to make out, but I honestly do not remember having sex. I had sex with her sister before I did her, and I remember that. I remember that. And if I can remember that, why can't I remember her?
Miss Bradley, do you remember having sex with him?
I remember having sex.
Did you
Never
use
even told me
protection?
she was pregnant.
Whew. So, Mr. Bradley, everybody's talking, telling their side of the story, what they think happened, why they think it happened this way, and yet I don't feel like either one of these two people are processing what you went through as a child.
Because neither one of them really give a damn.
I've tried to be there. I've tried to be. If I didn't give a damn, not even thinking he's mine, I helped him get a house. I've went and fixed his girlfriend's cars, his cars. I've done a lot for him, even with doubt that he is mine.
He's right. I mean, she has lied to me a lot growing up. He did help me get the house. I just want the results. That way he knows the truth, and that way I can move on with my life.
Do you have doubt?
No, I don't have no doubt.
So, Mr. Tessiner, you say you're 100% certain he's not your biological child.
Yes, Your Honor. If I knew it was mine, I'd be there more, but she never even told me she was pregnant. I mean, why not?
You admit you didn't tell him?
I admit to that, yes. I thought that my boyfriend that I was dating at the time was his dad because of the dark skin.
Nah.
And
You was pregnant
the
with me when
reason
you got
I
with him.
didn't tell Mr. Tessiner, I didn't bother him, it's because he had gotten some trouble and he left town. I didn't look for him.
Well, that's a lie because the trouble, he was born in 81, right? That trouble didn't happen till April 82.
I was under the assumption that my boyfriend at the time was my son's father. But as he grew older, his features started changing, and I could see more of Mr. Tessiner.
But when you got pregnant, you had slept with more than one man during the window of conception. You admit to that? You
Yes.
knew that?
Yes.
So how could you know which man was his biological father?
I didn't.
Okay. So the truth is you didn't know.
No, I didn't know.
Precisely. So why did somebody
Yeah.
get put on my birth certificate? That's my question. Why was anybody put on my birth certificate? I don't care what DSS said. I don't care if it's the Pope. You shouldn't have put nobody on my damn birth certificate.
I asked Miss Bradley to split the price of DNA.
I
He was
standing there,
sitting
I
right
was standing
beside
there
of me
he
when
did.
I asked her, because I got the phone from him and asked her, and her, if y'all want DNA done, y'all get it done.
Now, what I want to understand is, at a certain time, you began to feel like your son started looking like Mr. Tessiner.
Yes,
And you say you began to see his features change.
yes.
At that point, did you approach the other man that was paying child support and say, I think we need to do some DNA testing, or I think we need to go to the court because you're responsible for this child support and I don't think it's right?
I went and talked with him, and I went to court, and I had his child support stopped. I asked the judge what I needed to do to have the child support stopped. The judge told us to walk out of the courtroom that day and go down to Cleveland County and have the child support stopped, which we did. And I told him, you're not Lee's biological
And why
dad.
would somebody
And
else
if I
keep on
ever
paying
owe
to pay
you
it if he's
anything,
mine? Why would
as far as
somebody
child
else keep on
support,
paying
I'll be
mine?
glad to pay that back.
Why would somebody else be paying if he's mine?
I mean, Mr. Tessiner, you have to understand the reason why he was paying. He had to pay by the court or he'd go to jail, which he did do
Yeah.
at some
Yeah.
point.
He
And that's
did.
what really made me mad about the whole thing was me seeing him in jail. You can't give a man his freedom back. You can't give him that time lost back, or the time that he spent paying all that money buying me school clothes, when he should have been living his own life. I mean, it's not fair to him. It's not fair to me. I didn't get to know my great-grandmother. I didn't get to know my
Yeah.
great-grandpa. I didn't get to know none of these people.
I would have been there if I knew the truth. I paid child support on my other two kids until they was 18. I'm raising two of my grandkids right now.
So, Mr. Bradley, you say that if it's determined that Mr. Tessiner is your biological father, you would like to have his name.
Yeah, me and his sister have a close relationship. And
I support that.
I mean, me and him's had a relationship. It's just, he has that doubt, and I don't judge him for having that doubt. Because he's
With all
been
the
told
lies
so many
we've been
stories.
told.
I've been told so many stories, and it's all because of people worrying about, well, how am I gonna look? The truth's the truth. Put it point blank on the table.
Well, I think it's time we all learn the truth.
Yes,
Jerome,
ma'am, I do too.
Mr. Bradley, you claim Mr. Tessiner is your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Tessiner, you disagree? You do not think you're the biological father?
I've got doubt. I've been told so many things, so.
You've accused everybody of lying, but the DNA never lies.
That's right. That's what
So-
I told him.
Here are the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Bradley v. Tessiner pertaining to whether Mr. James Tessiner is the biological father of Litland Bradley, it has been determined that Mr. Tessiner, Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. In the case of Bradley v. Tessiner pertaining to whether Mr. James Tessiner is the biological father of Litland Bradley, it has been determined that Mr. Tessiner, you are his father.
Now we know.
And I know you said you feel like you missed out on a lot.
I know I did.
But at least everything's on the square now.
How do you feel, Mr. Bradley?
I already knew.
You knew it. So, you have requested clerical fees in the amount of $50. Should Mr. Tessiner be determined to be your biological father? Now, I will say this, you're 32 years old. Statute of limitation has long since run out. But, Dad, your son would like to have your name.
That's cool.
I technically cannot award him that amount, but I was wondering if you as his father would help him.
We can get it done.
Ms. Williams, you say you are furious that Mr. Glover is denying paternity of your 10-month-old son, Ralph. You claim Mr. Glover is an irresponsible man-child who would rather play mind games than be a father. And you intend to prove paternity today, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Glover, you say Ms. Williams is a promiscuous groupie who hatched a complicated plan to trap you into accepting her child in order to cash in on your rap career.
Yes.
You say there is no way you fathered her child, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Williams, what do you mean by he'd rather play mind games?
Well, Your Honor, let me tell you about Mr. Glover right here. He plays a lot of mind games, and when he wants to go out and do things,
Hold on, one at a time.
when he wants to go out and be with other women and lie and cheat, then he starts to argue and say, well, hey, that's not my baby anyway. I don't have to sit around.
I want to understand the nature of your relationship. How did you two meet?
I was doing videos. I'm a famous entertainer, so I was doing videos in apartments that she was staying in. You know, so everybody know me around.
You're a famous entertainer.
Yeah, I'm a famous entertainer. City, state to state. I'm everywhere.
I know that's right.
You know.
With your bling on and everything.
Because I play no games.
I know
At the
that's
same
right.
time, she play too
He
many
play
games.
a lot of games, Your Honor.
Stop trying to ride my fame, man. Just be real. You just trying to ride my fame.
Ride
Just
your
be
fame.
real.
Nobody wants to
Be
ride.
real.
What rapper is you, Ralph?
I'm a rapper in the city, and I in city, state to state riding.
You're an irresponsible man who needs to man up and take care of your child. And we're going to prove today that you are the father of Ralph.
But first thing, you got to make sure this is my child.
I'm
First
for
thing,
sure.
what you mean?
You knew you was for sure when you made him December 22nd.
I made
it was
him-
a planned thing.
All
Look,
right.
You taught us so many.
Hold on.
Hold
Hold on. So I still haven't gotten to the nature of this relationship.
The nature of this relationship when we first met,
It
we
ain't
were
no
friends.
nature.
You were friends.
After he discovered that I was something that he wanted, he took me off the market knowing that I had a whole nother sugar daddy taking care of me.
Watch he trying to ride the wave. Look, don't ride
Ride
my
the
wave.
wave and you playing the baby. You playing the baby because
ain't
the mind
playing no
games
baby.
kicked in. He
All
didn't
right.
come home.
So I
that
want
day.
to understand this. Did you break it off with your sugar daddy?
No.
And they prove right there that ain't my baby, because she ain't breaking out with nobody. She was fumbling around all in the city. I don't know who baby that is.
He was
That
playing
coulda been-
mind games telling me he was going back to school, but he was making it work with his ex.
I was making it work with my
Oh, I went back on the market.
My daddy died, Your Honor. My dad and my ex-daddy died a day apart, right? So when my ex and my daddy died a day apart, I came to comfort her. I'm hearing so much stuff about her going on in the neighborhood. She was talking to this dude, that dude. I'm like, look, when I did find out she was pregnant, I'm like, it can't be my baby. She doing all these things and got sugar daddies and all
Correct.
that. Come on, be real with yourself. You know that ain't my
Make it
child.
And so hold on. I want to get this. Miss Williams, at that time, then you say you went back on the market.
I went back on the market because he was lying like he was also going to school.
And she gonna stay on the market.
His
That's
phone
what she gonna stay
have
on the
called me numerous of times with the moans and groans in the background talking about, baby, I love you, and so far on.
Wait, the moans and the groans in the background
Of the sex communication.
of the sex communication.
And he say that was the radio. I know the difference in the radio and the moan and
Wait,
groan.
how did you hear that?
his phone mistakenly called me.
Oh!
Sit on there being nosy and listen.
That's a butt dial of a monumental proportion.
Big proportions.
That's a naked butt dial.
But she
Yeah, that's a
understand-
naked butt down.
She
You
knew the type of
absolutely
person, she knew the
correct,
type of
Your
person I was when she first met me, Your Honor. She knew I really wasn't no one-woman man.
You
She knew
was a-
that when she first met me.
You weren't a one-woman's man when I met you, but you wanted to be a one-woman's man once you found out what type of good woman I was. Is why you took me off the market,
how
Ralph.
you was a good woman and you run around with several other different men?
Because you wanted to put a baby in me. You came back crying and moaning ground once you found out that didn't work on the other side. The green wasn't so green over there.
How you know I put a baby in you? How you know if when one of these dudes you been
Because when we
talking to?
conceived Ralph Glover III, you came home and said, we're gonna make this work. And we did not use protection, and we normally do.
Only reason.
Hold on, let's just pause. You broke up when he was consoling his ex. You
Correct.
went back on the market. So you admittedly were having sex with other people then. You were back on the market doing what you want to do.
No, that's not correct. I wasn't having sex. I just got full time with my sugar daddy.
No dude don't give you no $3,900 just to be talking to you. And who wants you
You knew
like
he
that?
was giving me this
Who wants you like that?
$3,900 insecure
Hold on.
Need
about
the
the
man up and
situation.
take care of his responsibility and stop making excuses.
How I want you
Let's talk one at a time. You all got a little routine. It's like back and forth. Little blue on, little bow, little hair bow, match your little tuxedo shirt.
She love this style like
Yeah, I love
Your
it.
Honor. Your Honor. He knew
love
that he
this.
couldn't find no woman as good as me on the market.
What's up?
It's why he came crying back. If he could find anything better than me, he would have never put himself in a predicament to even be the father of Ralph
you
Glover
chasing me
III.
around the hood.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. You got back together and you found out you were pregnant.
Correct.
When you found out you were pregnant, you told him, you said, hey, Ralph, I'm pregnant. How did you tell him? Take me to that day.
I told him, no, he knew before me. He said, you know you pregnant. When I went to the doctor and found out, he was like, yeah, we gonna be a family. Oh, I hope it's a boy, because he already got a daughter. So it went on. He was going to doctor visits. We moved out of town. We moved to a whole nother place to make our family work.
I just
And then
want
that's when Ralph got very insecure. I was always cheating. If I didn't answer the phone, I was cheating.
All right, so now pause, Ms. Williams. Mr. Glover, I want you to respond. You're saying that you're convinced that during these times you were apart, when you were broken up, she was also having sex with other people.
Yes, ma'am.
And so how is it you know that? Why are you so convinced?
Because when me and her, we started talking or whatever, but when we got back together, end up, she left, and when she left and she came back, she started, she just was always defensive about everything. She always had an attitude about everything. And then when she let me finish, when she came back, I was thinking like, it always rolled the back of my mind. That's
You
why I
weren't
said.
riding in the back of your mind because you were oohing and eyeing.
Look, but at the same time, it always ran in the back of my mind. It was something about this situation. Because if she never let me do it, all of a sudden, she trying to pin the baby on me so she can have this mind right
No,
here.
I
'Cause she know
agreed
she wanted this
to
mind
let you
since
finish.
the first day
It
she
was
met
your
me.
decision.
Since the first day she met me, she always wanted me. She always chased me around every city, every spot I ever went to. She always, where you going to? Where you gonna be at? She always been that type of person. So that just let me know right then.
You
she wanted
always
me to
try to
finish
run
it.
around and use
real.
your rap career and try to say that I want to trap you. That's why we here today, to prove you wrong, that I'm not trapping you.
Yeah,
Now,
we
you
gotta
knew
prove
from the
that
beginning,
today, then.
Ralph, when
We
you
gotta
first
prove
met
that
me
today.
now, I was a good hustler getting
mine.
my own good money. And I don't need you for nothing. Us being together is a decision. It's not nothing that I need.
Be real.
We being real
it ain't nothing that you
kid.
need, but I am something that you
So,
want. That's
Ms.
what it is.
Williams, is it your testimony that you were not sleeping with this other man?
Correct.
You weren't sleeping with any other man.
Correct.
Mr. Glover,
Yes, ma'am.
you brought a witness.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to hear from this witness. Jerome, can you please escort Ms. Rachel Nolan into the courtroom?
Yes, Your Honor. Hey, come with me.
state your name for the court.
Rachel Nolan.
Ms. Nolan, you are Mr. Glover's sister.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are here because you have testimony regarding her relationship with this sugar daddy.
Baby. When it comes to a sugar daddy, a daddy ain't gonna be there unless you giving him some sugar.
That's
That's
incorrect.
right.
Oh.
How you gonna say that?
So
when you
do
got
you
sugar daddy?
know if she was giving him some sugar?
For one, her and my brother, they got into a verbal disagreement at the end of December 2016.
Yeah.
Jaleesa called me. She asked me, could I go by their place to pick her up some clothing? So I said, of course, yeah, I'll go by your house. Send me the address. Shoot me the address. And I brought some footage of the location.
You brought an exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.
Please step up and explain to the court what this evidence shows.
Okay. This is the hotel of the location that Jaleesa sent me. So I called her once I reached the hotel. She said, well, I'm coming down. So once she came out the front door, which is under this foyer, this is my vehicle. I then pulled under the foyer. Jaleesa got into the vehicle. We had a brisk talk. She was talking. She looked distressed, not stressed. Looked like she had just been roughhousing. So then, after she got her clothes off the back seat, she exited the vehicle very fast. I got to this edge, looked to the right. Dun, 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 dun. This is the vehicle that belongs to the man in question.
Oh.
Sad situation.
That's incorrect, Your Honor.
That's very correct. If it was
So
a test
you
I passed.
think she wouldn't let you up into the room with her because this sugar daddy was up there?
You got the winning question.
I didn't let her in
Yes, ma'am.
because I wasn't all the way checked in. He was only paying for this hotel because my debit card was left off
You can
at the
pay for a
house.
hotel over the phone with a debit card. He doesn't have to be there.
Me and Ralph was in an altercation. I left quick, fast, and in a hurry. I didn't have time to grab my debit card. It wasn't inside of my purse.
So it's your testimony that this sugar daddy was only there to help you get this room, but he never came up to the room and you were not intimate with him.
Correct.
So how close in proximity was this day to the day, Mr. Glover, you say she was trying to trap you?
She let me f***ing her the next day, so I know this is a lie. That's why I say I cut the cake right there. It ain't my baby. We can go on leave now.
Yeah, because we was already arguing about him not coming home the day before.
It's a sad situation. You a sad person.
Now, you
yourself.
sitting up here denying all this about this baby when you been there the whole 9 months. So why all of a sudden he in question only when you mad?
Well, let's be clear.
And how can you say something and you threw the baby shower? If you was in doubt, why did you proceed with this?
My point exactly. I look at you like a sister, and I'm not finna step in y'all business and tell my brother something if I hadn't got correct facts with you. I'm not.
Well,
gonna
you
tell him
shouldn't have
nothing
never
off
claimed him
assumption.
And
if
keep
you
it
was in
real.
doubt.
You told me that I wasn't the father. Just
All
be
right.
real. You
All right,
told me
hold
I
on.
wasn't the
Let's
father.
You
get
kept
some
saying he wasn't
order.
yours and accusing
Let's
me.
get some order. When I start talking, you stop talking. Y'all got so much to say. Kills me. They get up in this courtroom, all of a sudden everybody want to have conversation with one another. If y'all were going to do that, y'all should have had conversation about getting a DNA test and figuring out if the child's father is Mr. Glover or not, and you wouldn't even need to be here.
Well, I ain't
Now
the one
all
in
of a
doubt.
sudden we get into
He
this.
should've did that.
Hold on. Now all of a sudden we get in court, everybody got something to say. The point is, you're saying, Mr. Glover, that for 10 months, this child is named after you.
Yes, ma'am.
But for 10 months, every time you hold this beautiful baby, in the back of your mind, you thinking, is it not?
It's
But
always
when it's
stuck in the
not,
back of my mind. When she
it's not
told me
in
the
question.
baby was my baby, it's automatically stuck in the back of my
She
mind.
told you the baby wasn't
Yeah,
yours?
she told me the
When
baby
was
wasn't
that?
mine. That's around the same time we was getting into it and all the stuff like that. Yeah,
I told him
around
that in
time.
February that it wasn't his baby.
And then my thing is,
Why did I
would
tell him
you
it
do
wasn't
that?
his baby?
Why would you tell
Because
him it's not
every
his
day
baby?
he talking about when he want to leave the house, it's not his baby. So I told him, yeah, it's not your baby then.
Well, you know you can't unring that bell.
You right.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
Yeah, around when I signed the birth certificate, she looked me in my eye and said, do I really want to sign the birth certificate? I knew something was in the back of her head. Like, it was something that didn't really meet the eye. So I think in her heart, she really wanted to tell me the baby wasn't mine. It just been a whole lot going on.
What if Ralph Glover III is not your biological son? What are you gonna do?
I'm throwing the tools. I really just can't, because she'll hurt me in a situation that I ever been hurt before. Like, and it's just being real about the whole situation.
So, Ms. Williams, you maintain throughout this hearing that you weren't intimate with anybody else.
Correct.
And so the fact that you were caught in a hotel with the other man there, you admit to all of that, but you still say, I didn't sleep with this man?
Correct, Your Honor.
Sound like a lot of me.
You know what? I've heard enough. I've heard enough. I'm ready for the results.
After these results, I need an apology from both of y'all.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Williams versus Glover Jr., when it comes to 10-month-old Ralph Glover III, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Glover, you are the father.
So where's my apology? Clap this apology on over this way. Come on. Clout it. I'm listening.
Hey, you gotta stop
Is you
lying.
gonna man up and apologize
I'm a
for
man
all
that
the
will take care of my
denying
baby,
of my
but that
child?
don't mean I'm still gonna be with you though.
You don't have to be with me,
take care
but
of
you're
my
gonna
baby.
be with him, but you're gonna be on
Take care
child
of my
support.
baby. I
But
love
you don't do
him from
what's
day
right.
one. I love him from day one.
Listen.
Being
glad
a
this
good
my
man
baby.
has nothing to do with being a good father. Visits is not being a good father. Making sure needs are taken care of, and visits is being a good father.
Well, listen, the real work begins now because you have to co-parent.
You're right.
You've got to make that child more important than whatever little silly argument you all want to have.